Hi, my name is Mohammad Saleem. I'm a law partner at the firm of Davis and Danusa Iklas and Saleem, and I've been practicing immigration law since 2010. It's one of the primary areas of law that I practice, and I'm sure everybody has probably seen on their Facebook feed or Twitter feed this major decision that the Supreme Court just made earlier today. The title of the decision, the full name is Department of Homeland Security versus Regents of the University of California. It's what's being referred to as the DACA decision. And I'm sure on Twitter, President Trump's already been upset about this decision and talking about it being kind of a shotgun blast to conservatives and Republicans' faces. So I wanted to talk about a couple of things related to this decision. One of them was first, what exactly is the legal importance of this decision, and what future implications are going to come out of this decision. And then, kind of the final points about this are practical things that many immigrants can think about and many people can do. Community activists and others who advocate on behalf of immigrant rights groups and so forth. So the getting right into it, one of the things that people kind of hear being discussed is DACA or the term dreamer. So DACA is an abbreviation for the program that President Obama had passed in 2012. In brief, it stands for Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. Essentially, many of those are dreamers as well. Many of those people are people who came to the United States, immigrated to the United States when they were children, have no idea about their legal status and didn't really break any laws since they didn't know what exactly the laws were in terms of it. And they've been here, some of them as young as when they were babies, know no other language other than the English language. And this is a program that President Obama passed to protect those people so that they wouldn't fear being deported because they didn't have their other documented papers, such as a green card or citizenship. But for all intents and purposes, they were just like you and I, who had come at a young age and had no legal status to protect them. So, in the event that if they were arrested by ICE or somebody else, they could be placed in removal proceedings. So, President Obama knew this was an issue. Republicans and Democrats have known about this issue for a long time, that there's a large number of people in America that are dreamers, that don't have legal protections. But, he couldn't get Congress to pass a law to essentially give them some sort of legal status. So what he did is that he passed an executive order that was known as DACA that would essentially allow these people to be protected from removal proceedings. Because many people don't realize this, but deportation and removal is a executive policy within the United States, and the president has the authority to stop or accelerate or continue certain types of removal proceedings. So President Obama issued this policy that those people would not have to worry about being deported if they signed up for this program and registered. And there was tough criteria. Not everybody could get it. If you had certain criminal offenses, you were barred from getting it. And the second aspect, and perhaps the most important aspect of this, was that it allowed people that were living in America, that were undocumented, were dreamers, to kind of come out of the shadows. And I'm sure maybe you've heard of this term, come out of the shadows, which really basically means that you could live a normal life in America. And what does that really mean? Many of us take it for granted. In brief sum and substance, it means that you can get a driver's license, get a work permit to get a job, work on the books as opposed to being off the books. And that's really important for many people, especially immigrants, because immigrants unfortunately are exploited by people, whether other immigrants or other people in America, because they say, well, you don't have proper working papers, so I can pay you less than what is the minimum wage, or that you have to work longer, or that you don't get certain breaks, or you have to do jobs that maybe even some illegal things and so forth, that if you want to get paid. So that's really important because it allowed those people to be protected from being deported and also get some sort of working papers, especially the employment authorization card that allows people to get a job in America and work on the books and pay taxes as well. That's really important. Many of those people wanted to pay their taxes, work, but were afraid that, okay, if I pay my taxes, the government's like, well, you weren't supposed to be working, so how are you paying your taxes? That's a crime that you did in the first place. So it benefited the United States economy as well, where people were working on the books, were paying the taxes to the US government, and so forth. So this decision that was made today addressed a couple of the issues that the Trump administration, when he became president, had implemented to try to terminate this DACA policy. So today, the Supreme Court made this historic decision 5-4. Chief Justice Roberts, who interestingly enough is a Republican appointed Chief Justice by George W. Bush, the second one. And he went with what may be considered as the liberal wing of the Supreme Court, where he joined Sotomayor, Kagan, Breyer, and Ginsburg in saying that no, Donald Trump can't end this program because the way he's trying to end the program is problematic. So let me explain that first in terms of just what the issues were that the court addressed in this decision. And I want to get right to it and quote specifically what was written in the decision and the opinion by Roberts as well. It said, so the key dispute before the court, which is it's not whether DHS may rescind DACA. And I'm going to say over here, they wrote specifically, quote, all parties agree that it may. So just, a brief explanation of that part. It's not that, can Trump or any other president end DACA. They all agree that he can end DACA. The dispute instead is really, and I'm quoting again, instead primarily about the procedure the agency followed in doing so. So America is a country of laws. We have implemented laws where federal agencies such as Department of Homeland Security have to follow those laws before they can make a decision to terminate a certain type of program. And the issue before the court was narrowly read to say that did Department of Homeland Security follow the proper procedure, which is pursuant to the Administrative Procedures Act, which holds federal agencies accountable to the public for their actions. And it requires that these agencies, administrative agencies, have reasoned decision making. Not that they can do something that's arbitrary or capricious, which is a key phrase that's talked about a lot in administrative law, that they do whatever they want to do. Say, oh, you know what, I'm going to end this program, I'm going to start this program. There has to be rationale and reasoning behind it. So if an agency does it with rationale and reasoning, then its rulemaking and its policies are legal. But if it doesn't, then the Supreme Court can say you didn't follow proper protocol in trying to end a program or implement a program, and that's why it's right or wrong for the reason and so forth. So that's the issue that was brought before the court, and Judge Roberts, in this decision, said that the Administrative Procedure Act was not properly followed because the way the administration was trying to implement the end of this program was that Department of Homeland Security viewed deferred action and the collateral benefits linked to it as two separate issues. They were like, who cares if these people that we gave protections to, these dreamers, can't get their work permit anymore, can't work anymore, and can't have certain other benefits that they were enjoying. Who cares about that? We just want to end the program. And that's important because that's what the court said, that, well, if you're going to end a program, you can do it, but then you have to understand what are the consequences of ending that program. And the real world implications of that are that many of these DACA recipients, including many of my clients or past and current clients, had work permits. that they were able to get jobs, including some I know that are nurses or EMTs. So if you just automatically end this program and say we don't care about the collateral consequences that come with it, such as the work permit, we're going to rescind that as well, then that person who is living here can't work anymore, and that employer is affected as well. That hospital can't, anticipate that this decision is now going to now allow them to basically employ this nurse. Especially nurses are really critical now in this day and age, and this time where we have the coronavirus pandemic still kind of lingering in the background. So the Department of Homeland Security, by omitting this and failing to properly consider it, did not follow the proper rulemaking channels. And that's why the Supreme Court said that this is wrong and it's incorrect, and that they have to go back, and if they want to end this program, they have the legal authority to do it, president as well, but he's got to do it in a manner that takes certain things into consideration, especially those collateral benefits for DACA recipients, such as the work permit and so forth. So that's the key part of it. Of course, the dissent, says, oh, this is just, kicking the can down the road, because it's an election year and the Supreme Court doesn't want to make a hotly, hot take on it and end a program that's so critically important, to Democrats who are advocates of immigrants, and perhaps even some Republicans in some states where there's a large number of immigrants that would be impacted by this. But of course, ultimately, even Justice Roberts acknowledges that the solution to this, would be remedied by a political decision that could come about. Whether Republicans, Democrats come together and pass a law that gives these DACA recipients or people who've been here for now such a long time a direction towards getting a green card, legal permanent residency, and eventual pathway towards citizenship.